Welcome back. So we finished the scoring components for our behind section. Now let's move on to the goals. And in case you've been thinking that the goals are basically exactly the same as the behinds, then you're pretty much correct, at least as far as the first version of that implementation is concerned. So I'm going to start by creating the first digit of our goals by duplicating the first digit of our behinds, and I'll give it an appropriate name. This time, home behinds digit 3 is not going to cut it, I'm afraid. We'll call it home goals digit 1. Okay. And let's have a look at the current scripts that we have for that particular one. When we start, we want to set the costume to 0. Indeed we do. And before I forget, I'll move it into the right spot, or something approximating the right spot. And going back to our scripts again, when I receive the home behind added message. Okay, so we don't have an appropriate message for the goals yet. We will have soon. It certainly won't be that one. So we'll have to come back and change that handler once we've worked out what that message is going to be. But as far as the rest of the behavior is concerned, with sending an overflow message, that I think will still work. Again, it won't be a home behind overflow message, it'll be a different one, but I'm thinking that's probably pretty much what we need. And again, not surprising, it's based on what we use for the behinds, which seems to work pretty well. So let's get to the point where we need to create that new message by creating a new trigger button here. And let's duplicate the one that we have already. I suspect we'll need to rename it. Indeed. Home goals trigger seems appropriate and consistent. Let's align that under the goals section. That'll do, I think. Okay, and let's have a look at the scripts on that. Okay, we want to cut it down to 50% of its original size when we start. That's all well and good. Now here's the key one. When this sprite is clicked, we want to send a new message. We don't want to send home behind added. We want to send home goal added. Okay. And then we'll go back to that digit sprite that we created, and we'll get that to now check and receive that home goal added message, and we'll get it to send its own new message when it overflows, and that will be home goal overflow. All right. Now we haven't completed the second digit for the goals, but let's stop for a second and test what we've done so far. Make sure it's still okay. Quick test of the behinds. I don't think I should have broken anything here. No, still looks good. Now here's the real test. Are the goals working? Well, sorry, are one digit of the goals working? Looks good. Cycling over quite nicely. So now we're ready to go ahead and create our second goal digit. We'll use the second behind digit as a template for that. Duplicate it, rename it to be home goals digit 2. Goals with 1S usually. And we'll have a look at its script. We want it to initialize at 0, and we want it to be receiving the goal overflow message rather than the behind overflow message, just to be consistent. And as usual, I've forgotten to put it in the right spot. I'll try and fix that there. Hopefully I've given enough space between those two. We'll see as I get to be slightly wider numbers. Now, let's do a test again. Okay, I'm not going to test behinds again. I have complete confidence that they've worked. Goals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, big test is when it overflows. Should be sending the message on this click. Indeed it does. Okay, so goals seem to be working okay. And I'm going to move that one just a little bit closer because I think I've got a bit of tolerance there. So now we have the two main components of the score in an AFL game, the behinds and the goals, and they've both been implemented using 2-digit sprites and they overflow correctly. The next part, which is the major bit of this, is going to be to implement the points, and I'm doing that a slightly different way, which I'll explain very, very shortly.